Hi everyone, we are back on our YouTube channel Raid OverSimplified. New champions were released yesterday. Basilius, Ronus, and this guy Elder Skarg look like complete nightmares to deal with in Arena. 2 out of 4 very good legendaries by my count. That's not bad at all. Tila Gourmain though looks like she might have to go straight into the Yannica category, unfortunately. I'm not sure why they gave her such a random assortment of abilities that doesn't make any sense when put together, but I am holding on to hope that maybe she'll be meta for some future release where her skills will actually make sense, or maybe it just won't make sense. I'm not pulling very many shards this weekend, if any at all. A guy in my summoning bracket is already over 20,000 points, so I have no chance at those legendary Relentless gear. Speaking of that, I think Relentless gear is completely absurd. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking a Relentless War Mother would be able to place her bombs and then immediately blow them up, and that's not the same as blowing up at the end of your opponent's turn like Shazar, but she blows them up immediately. That's a huge difference. Some of you may know that I have a Baron. A Relentless Baron could possibly proc Skypiercer and use it to immediately end the match in about 4 seconds. I think it will also be amazing in Faction War. Right now, the problem with Bannerlords is that without Raglan, Baron cannot be available enough to be useful, but on a Relentless set, it's entirely possible that you can just RNG your way to a no damage clear. Anyways, I wanted to do an oversimplification of Mountain King today. I pulled him a few weeks ago, and since there's a champion leveling event going on with a legendary tome on the line, I decided to level and build him. As one of my clanmates so eloquently put it, we need those tomes right now more than water. This guy's history is interesting. On release day, Plerium got so many complaints they buffed him within 24 hours, and then a while back changed him again by reducing a ton of speed and restructuring his base stats to give him a lot more HP. I've heard of people calling it a buff and other people calling it a nerf because the speed got lower but the HP got higher. The truth probably lies somewhere in between depending on what you use him for, but either way, in his current form, he most definitely do not deserve these poor ratings, because in my opinion he is a ludicrously powerful champion if you use him correctly. So without further ado, let's take a look at where he is useful and how he is useful. His kit is extremely simple and straightforward. He has 3 single target attacks based on both attack and HP. One ignores 50% of defense, and the other ignores shield and block damage buffs, but not the unkillable buff. His passive gives 50% more attack per target he kills, up to 100%. So for that reason, I gave him more HP than attack. I have a HP percentage chest on him right now. I tested it fairly extensively with both a HP percentage chest and an attack percentage chest, and his numbers were virtually indistinguishable, which to me means his damage scales more off of attack than HP, but because his base HP is so much more of an outlier in comparison, we want a HP percentage chest to take advantage of that and have flat attack values on our jewelry primary in order to maximize his damage. I hope that made sense. If not, leave me a comment and I can try to think of another way to present that logical argument. Speaking of his base stats, his attack's a little bit subpar for an attack champion, but his base HP is extremely high, especially after the very last time they changed him. This 85 speed kind of just is what it is. It's even worse than Baron, so we're just gonna have to do what we can here. I'm a big fan of this 90 resistance. Him, Molly, and Trunda Guild Mallet all have extremely high resistances, and I think that's awesome. The developers, in my opinion, are really trying to give us a stout and robust feel to these dwarves, which will make a lot of sense. Fits with the overall feel for the faction. I think the dwarves have monstrous potential in Faction War whenever that's released. We already have a fusion legendary, AoE provoker, reviver, and turn meter buffer in Molly, a legendary AoE stunner in Trunda, and a ton of crowd control amongst the epics. And obviously this guy, just a stocky, condensed explosion, and his damage, honestly, is right up there with Royal Huntsman. Right off the bat, we know he is useful in Arena, but I never could have predicted that he would turn out to be this immortal bruising nuke, or immortal nuking bruiser, however you want to look at it. He is so good, we are just going to jump right into him soloing Hegemon teams. He is making a complete mockery of my Hegemon counter video from a few days ago and my entire Arena target list in general. His kit synergizes perfectly with some of the prominent offensive masteries that I think really amplifies his usefulness more so than most. The most crucial ones are Blood Shield, Cycle of Violence, Kill Streak, Ruthless Ambush, Whirlwind of Death, and Shield Breaker. I think it's just completely broken on him because his A3 bypassed their shield and he still collects the 25% extra damage. I took Helm Splitter as my tier 6 over Flawless Execution, so his damage is inconsistent. Not the most ideal for Arena, but I'm going to preemptively prepare for Faction War. If I can get a Savage set on him with stats remotely in the ballpark of how he is geared right now, I mean, even from the nosebleed seats remote, I think it would push him straight into the stratosphere. Not really holding my breath though. If I ever do get that kind of Savage gear with speed and crit rolls, I would of course put it on Krutraxa, Baron, or Turbold. So speaking of limited resources, I don't have one single tome invested in him right now, and he's already doing this. So he was not on my list of champions to tome, but he is forcing me to seriously reconsider. In the past Champion Oversimplified videos, I've gotten some comments saying, you know, this Arena stuff is great and all, but we're not really interested in making some unbeatable Arena team. We just want to know the dungeon viability. So I ran through each and every dungeon with him. He is incredibly good, obviously, in the Magic Keep because his A3 bypasses her shield, and he also has an affinity advantage. Running him solo is inefficient, but he can certainly be a core part of your team. Same deal here with the Minotaur, no worries whatsoever. He will solo it in a pretty reasonable a minute 30 if he has to, and I really wouldn't be worried about him dying at all. No danger whatsoever. And here we have him in Dragon 20. Again, he is Force. Affinity advantage is always good. He can do very respectable damage and can even be your main damage dealer against the dragon if you don't run a poison explosion team. He is putting up some ridiculous numbers here even without a defense down on the dragon. He's probably not the best for Fire Knight 20 because he can only do single target damage and has only one hit on all 3 abilities. He also brings no buffs or debuffs whatsoever, so at least his masteries are easy to do. However, the Fire Knight does have very high defense, and he can mitigate a lot of it through his abilities and gear, so if you have a team of multi-hitters around him, he can put up some serious damage. I would really recommend against him in Golem 20 completely. As a matter of fact, I don't really recommend running Golem 20. I hate that dungeon, mostly due to the artifact storage limit of 500, and set effects are so crucial in this game. It makes more sense to me to just consolidate Fire Knight and Dragon artifacts, so I never run Golem outside of tournaments. The dungeon, in my opinion, is also designed to be speedrun resistant, at least without Eleanor. He just got hit for 86k damage there, that's pretty brutal. And with that concludes our video on the oversimplification of Mountain King. In my opinion, he is the definition of a great bruiser, unique in its own right with an excellent combination of bulk and burst. It's probably better to rely on turn meter boost instead of gearing him for a ton of speed. His synergy with Molly is fantastic all around. I am going to go to ratings and give him all 5 stars because I think he's that good. As always, likes and comments are appreciated. I hope you're enjoying the grind and have a great day.